is where the drama starts. Lap 30, 8 laps to go. Sandopi hoping to take advantage of these lapped cars. Pilecki goes, dives onto the right side. Very aggressive here. This is lap 4. The two Viceroys. Bill Frazier ahead of Matt Pilecki. Frazier's off. Frazier hit the grass. You hit that tire wall, your day is done. Well, now it's lap 20. The Williams still trying to get around the Terrell team as he'll go around the left car and around those at the same time. At the same time, he's got the inside corner of Willie ride the curb. Yes, he will. He will get him on the inside. Vito Maria leading us all into Moss's corner. Look at the beauty as his right side will cook the grass a 180, no, a 360. Oh. Who will yield going into this corner? It's really not meant for too wide as it will be Gernald. Gernald will yield. Lots of smoke picking up from that Williams car. He is pushing it to the absolute limit. 26 of 30 now. Only 4 laps to go. He's going to get the run coming out the final corner. He's going to pull up side by side with the leader. It's going to be a drag race to the finish. Who is going to get there first? It's going to be...
Known across the racing world for its high speeds and spectacular podium ceremonies, Monza also has some critics. Some fans don't like how the first chicane leads to inevitable carnage and stops the cars from hitting Curve Grande at full speed. If you're one of those fans, you needn't fret, as the Lotus 79 Classic Team Championship is scrapping the Rettifilo chicane for this weekend's race here in Italy. Hello everyone and welcome to the Global SimRacing Channel's coverage of Round 4 of the Lotus 79 Classic Team Championship. I'm Samuel Ryman and alongside me in the booth is former IndyCar driver Richie Hearn. Behind the scenes we have our director Amjad Yamin, who is using camera sets provided as always by the one and only Dougie Beard. Richie, I'm one of those fans who doesn't really mind chicanes, but even I'll admit that when we do abort them, it certainly leads to some interesting racing scenarios.
Yeah, thank you, Sam. And I agree. I don't mind the chicanes if they're put in the right spots. Today we're in Monza, Italy, just outside of Milan, and today we are skipping that first chicane, running the classic layout, going right down into Curve Grande at full speed. This is a classic track, perfect for this classic Lotus 79 car. This track, I've been here in person and it's beautiful to see. Runs through the park here. We do have some great passing opportunities going into turns 2 and 3, which is a chicane. And then as we come out of the second Lesmo, lean down into the back section under the old oval. And then of course, after that section, going into the Parabolica. This track's gonna be fun to watch, huge drafting opportunities. But probably the best way to get a look at it is let's jump on board our GSRC lap guide.
All right, we've got Amjad Yamin in the GSRC Lotus 79, so let's do a lap around Monza. Blasting down the front straightaway, draft battles will be plentiful. There's no first chicane in this layout, so drivers will be flat to the floor for a long time. In fact, once they hit Curva Grande, they still won't lift because the downforce of the Lotus makes it a breeze to power through. As you come out of it, drift back to the right and set up to brake for Della Rosa. This will effectively become the first real corner, and this chicane could cause some pileups with how tight and slow it is. Stay off the tall sausage curbs because the car won't like them. From there, it's a short burst to the first Lesmo, where ideally you want to take it with a late apex. The slight bit of camber can deceive you into turning in too early. You can use the AstroTurf on exit, but get back to the asphalt and then line up for the second Lesmo. This is the more critical of the two turns because the exit leads onto a very long straightaway with heavy braking at the end of it. Passing opportunities will be rife and a lot of drivers will be trying to take advantage of anyone lacking a good launch. As we come under the bridge, hold to the right and spot your brake marker for Ascari. This chicane is very different from the other one with 3 apexes and a lot faster line. Try to open up the final apex for the best run you can get down into Parabolica. The pavement to the right is all fair game, so drivers are likely to let it swing wide to help carry their speed. Finally, as we approach the final corner, you can attempt to pass here, but I'm not sure that it's always wise in most cases. Parabolica gives a nice big braking zone and the track is plenty wide, so that's not the issue here. It's because when you come out of the turn, you're back on the main straight where anyone within a stone's throw will suck up to the rear of you and overtake you again. It might be better to wait until here to slipstream by your opponent. But hopefully you keep it all together and have now finished a lap around Monza.
Well, that's what one lap around here looks like, and you can see they go very fast around this circuit, so even though we have a 28-lap race, it'll probably be over in a hurry. Let's give you an idea of what drivers we're going to see racing out there today. This is the top of two splits, so there might be some names that you're familiar with who might not actually be here today. They might be down in the bottom split. Nuno Moreira, he comes in as our points leader. He is here today. Vandenberg is not, and I'm sure his I rating is high enough that if he showed up, he'd make the top split. However, no sign of the French driver here today. Adam Fraser, David Roth, and Sam Doby rounding out the top 5 in the points. And you see a lot of positional changes going on in the left side of your screen there, where drivers are up and down positions. That's just a result of the fact, of course, that we are so early in the championship still. There's a lot still to play for. Likewise, over in the team standings, this is called the Classic Team Championship for a reason. And even though this is a Lotus 79, which competed in the 1978 Formula 1 season, they are using paint schemes and team names from the 1981 championship. And the top 3 teams actually holding station after our third round right now, with the Creek Talbot Gitans leading the standings ahead of the Parmalee Racing team, and Williams down there in third. Tyrrell jumping up to 4th in the standings, and Marlboro team Alfa Romeo rounding out the top 5, but still Richie very early on in the championship. Let's have a look at our series details.
Yeah, it is very early in the team championship and the drivers championship. But here we are, race details, round 4 of 12. As you can see, there are 4 driver drops and 2 team drops. This race is going to be 28 laps long. It's going to go by very quickly. Setups are open, but no stops for fuel or tires needed. Do run our standard 17X incident cap, and they do use the official iRacing point system.
And currently qualifying is underway here at Monza. We have had 16 of our 23 drivers who have made this top split turn in the time so far. Currently our provisional pole sitter is Nuno Moreira, but not by much. He has just a few hundredths over Matt Wood. And looking up and down the timing sheets, Richie, there are a few names that either I'm unfamiliar with or I haven't seen for a while. One name we knew would be coming back is the number 13 of Barry West. He told us at the start of the season he wouldn't be here for the opening 3 rounds, but he is back.
Yeah, another driver that is back here is car number 1, Gernot Frisch. He just put in the second fastest time at the moment. And, even with missing those races, and you got those 4 driver drops, he still could actually win this championship if he just finishes out the season, because he's always running up front, wins lots of races. So this should be a good battle between him and Nuno Moreira. Right now, Matt Wood, though, is on the point with a 130.778.
Yeah, 0.2 of a second advantage over his closest competition, Gernot Frisch. Still a couple of minutes of qualifying left to go, though, as currently we're watching Ove Trandre with a tribute to Japan paint scheme, that looks like, on the nose of his number 9 Lotus 79.
Got a couple guys who haven't put times in, and one of those is Juha Noralampi. He has not put a time in. He's on the screen right now. One thing about this track, especially without that first chicane, is that if you can time it and just get the draft off somebody just right, you can really gain some time, maybe a couple of tenths. Right now, Nuno Moreira has now dropped it down to a 130.5, so he sits 2 tenths above Matt Wood at the moment.
See Noralampi out there on the circuit, yet to turn a time. He did complete a lap, actually, but I guess he must have had an off course during that. Now, Noralampi, he has won the opening 3 races of the season. He wasn't sure, though, at the start of the year how many of these races he was going to be able to make. We keep encouraging him to run the whole season. He says he's taking it on a week-by-week basis. But once again, he has shown up here at Monza with just a couple of turns, well, actually 1 turn, the Parabolica, away from finding out what he can do. Will Noralampi start at the front or at the back? I've got to admit, look like a little bit of a scrappy lap at times, but sometimes that could just be hiding his true pace. And yep, sure enough, he jumped straight to the top.
Straight to the top. And I remember on our interview with him at the last race, he said he definitely wasn't going to do this race because he didn't like it. But here he is once again. So should be a great battle between Noralampi, Moreira, and Friesch right up starting 1 through 3.
One car left on the track, Ove Trandre, currently 6th. And I'm not going to make any judgment calls about how his lap is looking anymore after Noralampi put it on pole in one go. And Trandre will smooth through Ascari. Might not make it to the finish line before the clock runs out though. And sure enough, he won't. So that is going to wrap it up on qualifying. Juha Noralampi takes pole position with Nuno Moreira starting alongside him in second. Gernot Friesch returns and puts it third on the grid, and then Matt Wood there in fourth place. Top 4 covered by 3/10. Then we have a 3/10 gap back to Stefan Baluku, lines up in fifth place alongside Ove Trandre, who wasn't able to complete his second lap. Ryan McCusker will be starting in 7th place ahead of Braden Cohen in 8th. Adam Frazier and Pablo Lombrera Suarez will round out the top 10.
Yeah, next up's going to be Ian Card and John Stevens, 11th and 12th. Then we have Justin Albrecht and Glenn Corrigan, 13th and 14th. Martin Blaze and Daniel Banker in 15th and 16th. Keith Herner and Charles Eric Lemonin in 17th and 18th. Barry West and John Keefe, 19th and 20th. Kevin Colschi, Danielo Sanfilippo, and Marco Sanfilippo running right there at the back, 21, 22, and 23.
And all 23 drivers are in the session. See if anyone elects to pit start. I should imagine there's not really a whole lot going for you for pit starting around here. Might as well start from the track, and if you're uncomfortable with those you're driving around, well, you've got about half a mile to a mile before you get to the first corner anyway. So plenty of time for these drivers to get sorted out. But you know these leaders aren't going to be backing off. We'll probably see some side-by-side racing going through the Della Rosa chicane. We saw how that worked out in real-world F1 just a couple of weeks ago with Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel. Noralampi has taken to the grid, just waiting for the cars of Glenn Corrigan and Marco Salah.
Yeah, I think Glenn Corrigan said he's going to start from the pit, so one car is going to do that.
All right, well, Glenn Corrigan qualified right in the middle of the field, so I guess just trying to stay out of a hornet's nest there. Anyhow, it is time to go racing. The lights are about to come up, and when they go off, Noralampi will lead him away for the first of 28 laps here at Monza. The lights are off and away they go. Noralampi and Moreira side by side. And while they both got good starts, that means nothing because we've got a long run through Curva Grande and the slipstream is about to rear its ugly head.
It's going to go back and forth between this pack going down those long straightaways. It does narrow up as we go into this. Oh, we got a spin in the back there, right in the middle of the field. It looked like
and Keith, I think, were both off. Noralampi leads through the Della Rosa chicane. The front runners getting single file. In the midfield, they're still double file through there. But they all go around there cleanly. It was Curva Grande where we had the action.
Yeah, he just got a little bit loose and looked like he just did a self-spin. As we come into the Lesmos here, Lesmo 1 and 2. Now we're coming down that back stretch into a really quick chicane. Right now, everybody's single file, kind of just running where they started in the top 3.
Now down into Ascari, normally the third chicane on this track, just the second of 2 chicanes today. Only 9 turns by iRacing's count on this configuration. Turn 9, of course, being the one that leads you back out into the front straight, one of the most famous turns in all of auto racing, the Parabolica. Even with all that runoff area on exit, still a tricky turn to get just right.
Yeah, I mean, you're carrying so much speed, and you got to because you're coming onto this long straightaway and even longer without that first chicane. And here they come down to complete lap 1. First, second, and third are right where they started, so everybody's just in line. Got someone coming for a pass.
Yeah, battle for 5th place back here with Trandre going wheel to wheel through Curva Grande. than Cohen. Now, they sort that out cleanly, but last lap, of course, it was not clean down in Curva Grande. Here's what happened.
Well, it looks like they were going 3 wide at some point and just dropped some wheels on the outside and sent somebody out in the gravel around him, and nobody had any contact, and just keep on going.
As we come back to live action, Braden Cohen had been running in 6th place. He has now dropped to 9th. He overshot the De La Rosa chicane, and it cost him 3 positions.
Right now, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, all are running in line where they started. The one loser at the start was Beluca, who started 5th, is now running down in 22nd spot, so he's got a lot of work to do to get up there and get some points. Not much passing going on up front. I'm assuming as the fuel burns off, these guys will tighten up and pick up that draft.
Oh, Blaze, hard into the wall. He clips the grass coming out of Ascari, and I think that could be race ending. On lap number 2, it looks like we have our first retirement.
Yeah, and he's all by himself here. Just gets a little bit wide, gets up on that AstroTurf and noses it into the wall, and that's absolutely a hard hit. So yeah, he's out.
And keep it on this replay, and we'll jump to Daniel Banker because he hits misfortune himself 1 turn later, Parabolica. So here's what happens to Blaze. That leads to our first retirement of a race. But then just 1 corner later, Daniel Banker, who had been running in the middle of the field here, really gets it real next in the Parabolica, and this one was ugly.
Yep, just got a little bit wide. There's that AstroTurf. Oh, it's a big bump right there. And yep, that's a wreck you don't survive from.
Getting on board, give us a better idea. This is Herner, his view of the incident.
He's going to go right underneath him. Yeah, up front, this thing's tightened up. Morero and Friesch are right on top of each other. Ooh, Morero hits the bump coming out of Ascari. He's going to lose a position to Friesch, I think, and he does. And now Friesch is going to try to chase down Nora Lampi. They were really tight when we were watching those replays. They tightened up into that first chicane there, but Nora Lampi must be running almost no downforce because these guys can't pick up that draft on him at all.
This is a track you definitely don't want to have downforce on your car as long as you can control it. And some people can't. John Stevens, he just spun out of a Parabolica. Almost a carbon copy of what we saw happen last lap.
Right. Yep, here's the replay. Hits that same bump. There's a huge bump there that's upsetting the car. Morero's trying to challenge Friesch. They were going side by side through the Curva Grande, but they kind of single filed back. Meanwhile, Matt Wood has joined this battle for the top 4.
Yeah, Matt Wood. All these drivers still running within 2 seconds of our race leader, Nora Lampi, who leads by about a second over Friesch, and then Marrero and Wood right on his rear wing. If something happens to all 4 of these drivers, Ove Trantere is now up to 5th place. He would be the one to capitalise.
And Nora Lampi's just kind of running a clean race right now. He's did his best lap just now at a 31.522, although Gurno Friesch is a little bit faster than him, but that's picking up the draft. You can see Nora Lampi trying to weave back and forth as they head down towards the Parabolica.
Another one bites the dust in Ascari. Charles-Eric Lemelin. This was on the entrance to Ascari that he got it wrong.
Yeah, here he comes. Just comes in a little bit fast and, just tried not to keep from hitting the guy in front of him and just spun around and did some heavy damage to that front wing. Keeps going, but he's going to be hampered from this point on.
Yeah, you could almost say the front wing is a bit bent. There's a Bender helmet there on the driver of the number 23 car, Futurama character.
Up front, it's still Nora Lampi, Friesch, and Morera. Matt Wood slipped a little bit back here, but Morera's not letting Friesch get away. So this battle is still going on, hot and heavy.
And back here we go to 9th place. Oh, where Braid and Cohen have been battling around for that position, but now he's lost a lot of momentum. Not the first mistake I don't think that we've seen out of him today, but what it does mean is Ian Carr, the driver I don't think we've ever seen in one of these Lotus 79 Classic Team Championship broadcasts, he is now up into 10th place.
One of our biggest movers here is Barry West. Started 19th. Now he's up to 12th spot. So he's doing a good job for the Ferrari team. Right behind him, Keith Herner loses a lot of time in that Parabolica. Came in a little bit hot. He's got... Oh, that was... Kevin Kolsch came in a little bit hot.
Yeah, talk about Barry West running up in 13th and he's starting 19th. Very surprising to see him that far back on the grid. I know he's been gone a few weeks, maybe just needed a couple extra laps to get back up to speed. Of course, running those Ferrari colours here at Monza always puts a bit of extra pressure on you. But his Ferrari teammate isn't here today. Oh, as we got a car off. That's Cohen again, more trouble for the driver of that number 17 car.
Yeah, running all by himself. This track is really narrow, so he just looked like maybe just a little bit too much rear brake and loses it going in. Doesn't hit anything, but he's going to exit. He's done.
And that'll take us down to 19 cars. If indeed he doesn't rejoin. We've already lost Stevens, Banker and Blaze. It's battle for second really heating up as they come back out into the front straight with Friesch ahead of Moreira.
Yeah, Nuno's got a really good run out of the Parabolica. He's in the draft, so he's going to make a move, but Friesch has been making him go around the long way, except now just as I say that, he's going to give him the inside. But the next corner, if they can go side by side, would be Friesch's. He'd be on the inside. So here we go, side by side through the Curva Grande. Not the easiest thing to do. And Friesch just can't hold on to that. Gives the position back to Nuno.
Working lap number 7 of 23 here right now at Monza. So already starting to enter the mid portion of the race, and a good battle for 9th going on into the Della Rosa chicane. Ian Card picks off another position, pushes Justin Albrecht back one.
Ooh, no, Laura Lumpy goes off. He just got on the grass coming out of the second Lesmo, I believe, on the outside and got on the gas, and here he goes, just gets up on that AstroTurf, coming through the second Lesmo, got out a little bit wide, and there he goes. I've done that many times, and that's going to end his race. So that's going to hand that race. He's still going, but he does have some damage, and he is struggling right now as he's all over the place.
Yeah, he's keeping going, and my guess is, unless iRacing is telling him he has to pit, he might try and keep it out there. But I don't think he's going to go 4 for 4 and race wins today anymore.
Yeah, he's only dropped down to 4th spot, so you can tell the kind of lead they had already. But he's got Ove Trinkerade right behind him. Unfortunately, his front wing is pretty damaged, so he's going to be hampered down these long straightaways. So he has, won a bunch of these races, so he's just got to hang in there and try to get some points.
So that means the scrap we've been watching between Moreira and Friesch for second place all race long is now for the lead. Moreira holding onto it ahead of Friesch, Wood in third, and then Nora Lumpy back down there in fourth, and everyone of course holds station behind him.
We don't see Nora Lumpy make mistakes very often, so that was quite surprising. And you can tell just how hard he was pushing to try to stay ahead of Moreira.
If I recall, last week after we spoke to him after his victory at Pocono, Richie, he said he wasn't the world's biggest fan of this circuit. And we saw him, we made note earlier on, we thought he was running with a bit less downforce than his top competitors. And that would make sense for him to lose it in a turn such as Lesmo's, where, you know, you want a bit more downforce.
Yeah, he just got a little bit wide. It's really hard to, I mean, it's so narrow at the exit, and you're trying so hard to carry the speed. He just got a little bit on that AstroTurf, as we've seen it catch a few people out. And this car has no traction control, so you just get on the gas a little too hard, and it spins those things up, and away you go. Another good battle going on. Well, it was for a second, but Barry West, Marco Sanfilippo, and Stefan Baluka were all nose to tail, but they separate out just a tiny bit here. Marco Sanfilippo is doing a good job. He didn't even put a qualifying time in, started 23rd. He's running up to 13th position.
Yeah, and the other Sanfilippo, who didn't turn the lap in qualifying, right behind him in 14th after starting 22nd. You've got to imagine, I'm assuming they're relatives.
Battle up front still about the same as it was. Nuno has about a half a second lead on Gurno. Gurno's not quite able to draft up to him in these long straightaways, but if he just keeps putting the heat on him, all it takes is we've seen just a little mistake, and you're off the road.
Let's head back to our Italian relatives. Marco Sanfilippo has run into trouble.
Going through he hit that curb on the inside through Curva Grande, put him a little wide, coming down to the first chicane, and let's see what happens here. Look, just gets on the grass, and there he goes. Same thing. Just a little bit of a wiggle, and wasn't able to save it. He's now exited the car.
So that'll move Danilo up into 14th place.
Right in front of those guys, Stefan Baluka, who qualified 5th, had that problem on the first turn, really. He's closed right up behind Barry West. So this battle for 12th is heating up here. I do see a little damage on Baluka's front wing, but it seems like he's got the draft picked up, and he's going to go the long way around as they come up to the Curva Grande here. And Barry, looks like Barry just kind of let him go.
Yeah, Barry got to see all the carnage unfold in front of him on the opening lap of a race. Said, no, I don't want to risk any of that.
Well, this is Barry's first race of the season, so he's probably still trying to find his rhythm.
Bit of a battle shaping up for 7th place. Pablo Lombardo Suarez, I don't think we've seen as much of him this year as what we normally do. He's running out there right now, started 10th up to 7th in the early stages, holding off Adam Frazier, who started ahead of Suarez. At some point they switched positions, and Frazier wants it back.
Now, Frazier is our points leader, so he wants every point he can get. Here he goes. He's going to go onto the inside into the Parabolica. And you know what? Sometimes you're better off lifting a little bit early, and Suarez gets a little sideways, and you want to be able to make that pass down the next section. And so here we go. Suarez has been in a few races this year, but he hasn't run as well as we had seen him on the last season. There goes Frazier getting that draft. He's going to go right on by him. Drag race down into Curva Grande here. See if Suarez can hang on the outside. Nope, can't quite do it. Obviously, Frazier's got the shortest distance around that corner. And that position is going to be back to Frazier for 7th.
Yeah, I wondered how much being out of a racing line would hurt him at Curva Grande. It actually means you have to lift a little bit on all the marbles. Track conditions today, they're not bad. They're not exceptional. They're right in the middle there, 100-degree track temperature, which honestly, Richie, with the fact that we've only got 9 turns around this racetrack, I have a feeling, I mean, these Lotus 79s are kind on their tyres anyway. You can't really blame bad tyres for any of your mistakes around here today.
No, I think what you're blaming is just running that super low downforce and just not having the grip and the narrow track as well. So just the way it is here. It's a tough place. It's fun, but it is tough to be fast because there's only 9 corners to make up time, so every corner counts.
Yeah, speak about a narrow racetrack. I have a feeling it's probably not as narrow as what it looks like when you're flying down these straights at 180 miles an hour. In fact, I'm watching our race leader right now. Let's see what Moreira's hitting. Right as he goes into Curva Grande, he had it up at 187. We clocked him at.
Yeah, and when you see it in person, it's super narrow. It's only about 2.5 cars wide, 3 cars maybe. So for modern racetracks this day and age, their tracks are more like 40 feet wide. This track's more about 24 feet wide. Gurno still hunting down Nuno Moreira here as we watch on board with him. He can't quite get close enough. He's constantly at that half a second mark, at 5/10 mark. He just can't quite get close enough. Noralampe still holding off Ove Trinkerade as well with that damaged front wing. Ove's right behind him, but can't get close enough to make a move either.
Yeah, so a couple of battles we're keeping our eyes on up there. We also have the battle going on back around 12th place, which was actually a bit of a 3-car scrap with Beluca, West, and San Filippo. West actually just moved up into, what, 13th? No, 12th.
Yeah, they got by Keith Herner somewhere. He was ahead of him the lap before. I didn't see the pass, but Stefan and Barry have gotten by him, so they've all moved up one position.
Yeah, they're all shuffling around so much I can't keep up with it myself. Yep, we might be about to have a battle for the lead. This one should be easy to keep up with. Moreira versus Frisch, but Moreira will hold on to it for now.
Yeah, Keith Herner having a problem and losing another spot to Daniello Sanfilippo. Just get a little wide in the parallel. Oh, was able to, didn't hit anything, but nice scary spin and was able to keep going. But here comes Daniello. He's going to go by him right though. We went by him right after that.
Yeah, definitely not the place you want to have a spin. He did well to kind of back out onto the runoff area there and get out of the way of all the cars coming by.
Now we've seen Gurno win a lot of these races, and I think he's just hanging tight. You know, I think he realizes that if he passes him now, that just gives Nuno a chance to pass him back on that last lap. So you might be seeing Gurno just kind of trying to keep him in close enough in range to do the draft, and just wait for that like 2 or 3 to go to make that move.
I think Noralampi has made a mistake this lap because Chadre is still right on his rear wing, but what's significant is McCusker is a lot closer than he has been before. And sure enough, Noralampi and Chadre were half a second that lap closer than McCusker, so a bit of a 3-way battle shaping up for 4th place. If Noralampi is having handling issues with the damage on his car, he's starting to create a bit of train behind him.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if he's just not got massive understeer through like Curva Grande and the Parabolica, which is really hurting him. You can see going through there, he's got a ton of understeer, and here comes Ove Trinkerade going to get the run out of the chicane there going into the first Lesmo. Looks like Noralampi's just going to give it up. Ooh, he's going to make a move, trying to make a move on the second Lesmo. That's really tough to do. It's going to push him wide. Now it's going to leave the door open for Ryan to try to stick his nose in as they come down to the Scary chicane. Kind of cuts him off as they go under the old oval right there. I think Noralampi's just struggling he's got a hurt car, so he's just doing everything he can to get to the end.
For anyone watching thinking of trying out iRacing in the future, yes, that old oval Richie referred to, you can race on that. And that leads to some very interesting races.
What's a real interesting combination is when you run the full track with the oval. So one time you go down the straightaway, then the next time you do the oval. It's really interesting.
And there's no shortage on what kind of cars we've seen race on the Monza Oval here on iRacing. Tell you what, battle for the lead shaping up once again as they come to the Della Rosa chicane, but once again Prix backs out of it. He's within striking range of Moreira. I think he's just being patient now. We only just hit the halfway point of this race.
Yeah, we also got Ryan McCuster's made a move on Nora Lampe. Nora Lampe has the inside here, but he had the pass done, but Nora Lampe's not giving up. And meanwhile, they're backing everybody up because here comes Adam Frazier now in to join this battle. So, Nora Lampe's struggling. His last lap was a 1:34.0, and Adam Frazier's last lap was a 1:31.8. So this is going to be a long 13 laps for Nora Lampe, I think.
Yeah, and look at how much Trangerate has pulled away from them. He only just got by Nora Lampe last lap, and he's already pulled out a 2-second advantage. So that's why McCusker and soon the likes of Frazier, Suarez, and maybe even more drivers will be in a bit of a hurry to get by Nora Lampe because they know they're losing time while they're stuck behind him.
Yeah, Ove just ran a 1:33.0, so a full second faster than Nora Lampe. And Ove's doing a good job, started 6th, running 4th. Now he's kind of by himself. He's got 8.3 seconds to Matt Wood, so not much chance catching him unless there's a mistake, but that battle behind him is really strong. Up front, Nuno and Gurno still lock nose to tail here. Gurno gonna just keep putting the pressure on him. I think we're gonna see, like I say, a move maybe about lap 25 is probably when we'll see Gurno really try to turn the screws on him.
Gurno, the defending champion of the series. He's certainly raced around Moreira enough in the past. They know how each other drives, and we'll certainly see them go wheel to wheel, I'm sure, by the time the race comes to a close. Granted, that might be a bit further on down the road, though. And Nora Lampe has put a little bit of a distance over McCusker and Frazier this lap. Maybe just had a couple of scrappy laps and has got it back together now.
Yeah, he seemed like he regrouped there, dropped his lap time to 1:33.2, so about 8/10 faster than the one before. He is sliding all over the place, so I mean he is hanging on, and it's keeping Ryan and Adam Frazier in view. Adam is our points leader, so he needs to have a strong finish here.
Yeah, and let's not forget, this is what I saw out of Nora Lampe during qualifying. I felt for sure he wouldn't take pole position because he was sliding all the way around the place. Well, now we know the reason he was doing that most likely is because he doesn't have any downforce on his car. And even if he is sliding through the turns and losing time there, he's able to make up for it on the straights. And that's really what's helping him when it comes to helping off these hard-charging cars that don't have any damage behind him. But McCusker has such a good slipstream right now as they hit through Curva Grande, that you might think about sticking his nose out, but too far back this lap.
Yeah, he kind of just catches up to him right at the end and not quite close enough to make the move. But that little trying to make that move on Nora Lampe has closed Frazier up on the back of McCusker. So this is kind of a seesaw battle here. I think you're right. I think that, the downforce level that Nora Lampe's running, that we saw that when he was leading the race. Those guys couldn't quite get to him to make the move, but then he kind of made that mistake on his own.
The other thing it looked like out of McCusker last lap is he actually had to, as him and Frazier both overshoot the entry to Ascari, he actually had to lift going through Curva Grande because of the aero wash that he had on from Nora Lampe's car. Now, of course, drivers who race modern-day F1 cars on iRacing or who compete in oval racing, especially in open-wheel cars, they'll know all about the aero wash. Maybe it's something with these road racing drivers in these older F1 cars are a little bit unfamiliar with, though. Really what it means is if McCusker wants to get a good run on Nora Lampe, he's got to be considerate of that aero wash when he's going through Curva Grande here and do everything he can to get some clean air to that front wing so that he can continue his nice run and pounce on Nora Lumpy down into Della Rosa. But right now he's having to go defensive, and he's just going to yield it, honestly. Adam Fraser, much late on the brakes, picks up 6th position.
Yeah, McCusker got a little wide on the Curva Grande. He probably had to lift, and that left the door open on the inside for Fraser, and just was real strong on the brakes going into that chicane. So move that position, 1 position more for Fraser, and now he can see if he can chase down and try to get by Nora Lampe for 5th position. Battle up front separated out a tiny bit. Nuno Moreira just set the fastest lap of the race the last time by, and he's got a healthy 7/10 gap here on Gurno. Gurno's going to have to kind of keep that closer if he wants to make a move later in the race, but he's definitely getting some wash here as you can see him wander out. He's a little bit too far to make a move, but see if he can tighten this gap up a little bit as we get closer to the end.
There you see fastest lap goes to Gurno Free. Nuno Moreira actually had the fastest lap of a race for 0.6 seconds, and then 0.6 seconds after he turned the fastest lap, Free crossed the line and stole it from him. So as fuel burns off in these cars, they're going to be going faster and faster. And hopefully these drivers are prepared for it, able to keep it on track, and we'll have a good race down to the finish line, which certainly seems to be what we're shaping up to have here between Moreira and Frisch. Currently holding about 5-second lead over our 3rd place driver, Matt Wood. Going through the field, Matt Wood has 10 seconds over Ove Trangere. He's had a bit of a quiet middle portion of a race. He certainly had these battles early on, but now just running 4th on his own. And the reason he's all on his own is because he was one driver who's been able to get by Nora Lampe in his beaten up number 2 machine. He was dominating early on. He's been dominating for most of the season, to be honest, but certainly not the case today. And Adam Fraser and Ryan McCusker have yet to find a way by him. They run 6th and 7th respectively. Not too far ahead of Pablo Lumbrera Suarez in 8th place, having one of his better performances of the season, back on form. Ian Card, a driver I'm definitely keeping an eye on because I don't think we've seen him before, and also because I like the colour orange. He is running back there in 9th place after starting 11th up a couple of spots, and then rounding out the top 10, Justin Albrecht, but not by much though, Stefan Beluca all over his rear wing.
Hey, everybody's kind of separated out, even amounts, not much going on at the moment. We got 9 laps to go. Adam Fraser was able to get by Ryan McCusker, but he hasn't made much inroads. He's only about a 1/10 of a second faster than Nora Lampe, so hasn't been quite close enough to get the draft, although he's tightened up this as we go into the braking zone here. This is where I see Nora Lampe really struggle as he turns into that first chicane. He's got a huge amount of understeer, and that's going to give Fraser a peak around the outside on the first Lesmo. That's a tough place to make that move. I probably would have waited till we come to the second Lesmo to get that run into Ascari chicane. And here they come through the second Lesmo. They're going to dip down to go under the old oval here. The braking zone for this Ascari chicane is a little bit tricky. It's a little bit blind going in, but you do have to carry quite a bit of speed, as otherwise you lose that next straight going into the Parabolica.
We also have a battle for 15th that has just shown up on track. John Keefe currently has it. Now, John Keefe, when we saw the accident at the start of a race, Keefe lost a lot of time by running through the gravel in Curva Grande just to try and avoid it. Well, Glenn Corrigan elected to start from the pits. He would have started 14th otherwise, but the battle for the lead is now on as they hit Curva Grande. Frisch has had enough of just following Moreira around, and he is starting to get aggressive with 8 laps to go.
Yeah, he really stuffed it in there on Curva Grande. That was real close. I don't know if Nuno knew he was there or if he was actually trying to block him, but that was a close call.
And all the battles are on now because Adam Fraser finally disposed of Johan Nora Lampe for 5th.
Yeah, got a good run off the Parabolica. And now right now, Nora Lampe can't do anything about this. And he's just got to let him go and see if he can get around him going into the next chicane. But yeah, that move was done pretty early. Meanwhile, that's brought Ryan McCusker right on. Oh, and Ove's pulling over. Noralampi pulled over and just let McCusker go. So, Noralampi's had enough of that.
Yeah, I almost wonder if that was a mistake out of Noralampi, that kind of coming out of a second Lesmo looked like the rear end of his car stepped out a tiny bit. Maybe that's why he yielded the spot to McCusker, because he certainly wasn't yielding it a few laps ago. He was doing everything he could to hold on to that position.
Up front, Gurno's got another good, strong draft coming up the front straightaway, and he's going to try again. He's going to try the outside here, see if he can hold around and around the Curva Grande. If he can stay pinned, and he's got the pass done. So here comes, this is going to be tight going into the next chicane. Frisch has got the position, so he should be able to he's going to let him go. He's going to let him have it.
Frisch knows he's got time on his side. We've still got 6.5 laps left to go in this race, and honestly, Richie, this is one of those races where I'm not sure you really want to be leading at the start of the final lap.
Yeah, I think so. I think if you want to be leading going into the Parabolica, I think if once you come out of the Parabolica, the run is just a little too short to make a move. But we'll see. I know Gurno's pretty smart, so he's got the pace. He's been poking his nose, and Nuno hasn't cracked, and this battle's going to go down to the wire, I believe.
Speaking of making a move, the battle for 15th finally has been resolved. Glenn Corrigan found a way by John Keith over in the Parabolica. And tell you what, I don't think Corrigan's decision to start from the pits has worked out as much in favour as he would have liked. He's only made up to 15th. He qualified 14th to start with.
Yeah, that really only works when they run that first chicane, and when they run all the way down to Curva Grande. By the time you leave the pit lane, and they're full speed, so I probably wouldn't have done that myself.
All right, here come the leaders again.
He's going to try the same move, go around the outside of Curva Grande. We'll see if he can outbrake him this time. Nuno got on the curb and got a little loose, had to and lift, and he's going to try. This is going to be tight. And Gurno's got the position, but that was not an easy pass.
A little bit more cleaner than what the professional F1 drivers were able to do here a few weeks ago, but it almost wasn't. Their wheels kind of interlocked, almost. Fortunately, these drivers were able to get away with it this time. As we ride on board Moreira's onboard here, you can see he still sticks it in there in the chicane, gets right up alongside Frisch. But at the end of the day, it was Frisch's for the taking. Now, can Moreira respond? My guess is with 5.5 laps left, and a fast car underneath him, we haven't seen the last of this battle.
No, Nuno has already shown that he can get past Frisch because he did it early on. And Nuno's got a fast car. Both these guys are evenly matched. So we'll see what Gurno can do. Nuno's obviously showing he's really strong on the brakes going into that first chicane. So that might see where we're going to see this next pass as he's got the draft on him coming down that main straight.
Yeah, it definitely seems with the high speed that these cars are running, that Curva Grande is not as simple as you think it would be on paper, especially when the aerodynamics of the other car alongside you and squeezing you on the inside there hurts you. Moreira easily gets back by Frisch. He had a much easier time of picking off a position than what Frisch did a lap ago. Yeah,
it looked like Frisch clipped the beginning of that curb and kind of threw his momentum off. And, Frisch might be just setting him up to pass him on that last lap in the same position. So kind of keep an eye on this battle.
Moreira able to get through the first Lesmo a lot quicker than Frisch and put a bit of a gap on him, but I'm sure Frisch knows as long as he stays within a second or so, obviously no such thing as DRS on these old F1 cars, but the slipstream still exists wherever you go, even if you're running in your Toyota Corolla on down the interstate. The slipstream is helping you out, and as long as Frisch can remain in contact with Moreira here, he'll still be within striking range when the final lap starts in just a few moments' time.
That battle with Fraser and McCusker hasn't stopped, and I think you're right. I think Noralampi just made a mistake and had to get out of the gas, and that's what let McCusker by, because he's latched onto the back of this group. He's a little bit behind, but he's still close enough to where you can see what's going on. Right behind him, you can see Suarez is slowly creeping in onto that battle as well. Nuno Moreira just set the fastest lap of the race with that heavy draft down the front stretch the lap before, but here comes Gurno. Gurno's got the draft on him coming through Curva Grande, and I think Gurno is looking to make that same move that he did before, maybe with about 1 lap to go.
Unless Gurno is sandbagging Richie, I really have a feeling he doesn't have the better car here. If he's going to make it, he's going to have a tougher time trying to make a last lap pass stick than what Moreira would if he wasn't so.
No, I agree. I think Nuno's shown that he has the faster car, and also Gurno's a gentleman racer. He knows that he's not in the championship battle, and Nuno is. So, that might make a decision on how hard he really tries to make that move. He's just keeping Nuno honest, and but Nuno has shown that he does have the fastest car out here.
And Juha Noralampi is trying to get 6th place back from McCusker here.
Yeah, McCusker got really wide. That's where Noralampi had his mistake coming out of that second Lesmo, and that's left the door open for Noralampi to get back by and take that 6th position back.
That battle still on with 3 laps left to go as they come to the line. Likewise for the battle for the lead. Less than 5 minutes until the checkered flag will fall. We don't know who's going to win this thing yet.
Yeah, this is shaping up to be a great finish, not only just for 1st and 2nd, but for that 5th, 6th, and 7th spot. These guys are tight. Meanwhile, Matt Wood, Ove Trenkere, they're all just doing their own thing.
And throw into the factor, lap traffic. Kevin Kolsch is not too far ahead of him, 17th in the last car on the lead lap, and actually just kicked a bit of gravel up in the air with a mistake. Now, of course, the long straights here means there's plenty of room for Kolsch to pull over and let them by. But that being said, that could still help Moreira out with a bit of a drafting partner as they work their way up to the Parabolica here.
Oh, yes. Let's throw in a little bit of lap traffic at the wrong time. Oh, he's going to lift and let him go by. So here comes Gurno. Here comes Nuno. So no action going on there. I was hoping for a little more action than that.
Well, I'm sure Moreira still appreciated it. You could see as soon as they got out of Ascari, he pulled right to the side to try and pick up that slipstream on the run down to the Parabolica. 2 laps left to go. And just so you know, the finish line is at pretty much at the pit entry. It's not the start finish line. It's not the same as the start line all the way down, halfway down the main straight. So if Frisch or if Moreira, if he finds himself in 2nd, is going to think about moving in the Parabolica on the final lap, they've got to do it quickly.
Yeah, so we've seen this battle go back and forth. I think if Frisch is going to win this race, he's got to make that move going into the first chicane after Curva Grande. I think it's really tough to get the drive off of Ascari chicane and to get into Parabolica, but they could prove me wrong. But I'm looking for that's where Gurno's going to try to make his move.
Trangere in trouble. He had been running in 4th place.
That's too bad. He was doing a good job all by himself. So self-inflicted wound here. He's coming to the chicane. He's going to hit the curb a little bit high, and you can see the car bounce around, and there he goes into the wall. Got some damage now.
He'll be able to keep carrying around for the last 1.5 laps, but obviously he won't get the 4th position that looked like he was destined to get. All right, the final lap about to start. Moreira has been trying to break the slipstream on Frisch. She's been driving very hard. It hasn't been to any avail though. Frisch has the slipstream, and he's got to make this move work right now, Richie, or else it's going to make it really hard.
Yeah, I don't think he's close enough. He's going to have to, and we've seen that Nuno's really strong on the brakes. But here he comes. Which lane is he going to pick? He's going to go around the outside here. Can he keep it together? Very, very close coming into that chicane, and you can see Nuno's super. He thought about it. He thought about it. I think too that, like I said, Gurno's a true gentleman racer here, and he's not going to mess that championship up. I think if he was running for the championship, he would have gone in there for that.
Well, of course, they still get 4 drop weeks at the end of the season. There's nothing to say Prix can't come back and do more races, but there's nothing to say this is Marira's yet. There's still a few strong drafting zones to go, and if Marira does not get a good exit out of Ascari, Prix could definitely challenge up into the Parabolica.
Yeah, you can see him sliding around trying to carry that momentum through Ascari, and I just don't think he's close enough now. The run is not long enough. You got to be right on the back of him, so I think we're seeing our finishing order here unless Nuno makes a huge mistake.
Marira has been kept out of the winner's circle this season so far by Nora Lampi in the Lotus 79 Classic Team Championship, but today the fortunes are reversed. Marira wins, Prix half a second behind in second, and Wood is going to round out the podium. Nora Lampi is going to have to settle for 5th position, I believe. In fact, he might struggle to hold on to that because McCusker still right behind him in 6th. And Fraser came home ahead of this battle in 4th place.
Yeah, Pablo Suarez coming around in 7th. Nice job for him. Start 10th. Ove Trenkerade, oh, that's too bad. He was running 4th the whole time. He's going to finish in 8th. I'm sure he's disappointed with that.
Ian Card, a nice top 10 in the first race I recall seeing him. Beluca rounding out our top 10. And then the rest of the lead lap competitors, 16 in total. None of them really in any battles as they come across the finish line here. Well, we certainly had a great battle up front all race long, and we're going to try and catch up with our top finishers, and we'll be back in just a few moments here on GSRC for a full race rundown and drive interviews. Don't go away. Hello and welcome back to Monza, where we just witnessed the fourth round of the Lotus 79 Classic Team Championship. It was a classic Monza drafting battle down to the end between Moreira and Prix. Moreira seemed to have the upper hand all race long, and sure enough, when the checkered flag fell, it was the driver of that number 3 car crossing the line in first place, just by half a second over Gernot Prix and Matt Wood rounding out the quiet podium. Adam Fraser up 5 positions from where he started, qualifying 9th, finished in 4th. Nora Lampe was dominating the race early on, but then made a mistake who dropped him all the way back to 5th by the time the race was done. Ryan McCusker finishes in 6th place ahead of Pablo Lombarez Suarez, who had a semi-decent performance, I would say, down there in 7th. Ove Trandre in 8th position. He was in 4th in the closing moments, but had an unforced error through the Della Rosa chicane, finishes in 8th. Ian Card comes home in 9th place after starting 11th, the only driver to finish in the top 10 who started outside of the top 10, and Stefan Beluca finishes 10th.
Yeah, coming home 11th will be Justin Albrechts. Then Barry West had a good run, 19th to 12th. Also, right behind him, Danielo Sanfilippo didn't put a qualifying time, started 22nd, all the way up to 13th. Behind him, Keith Turner had a few struggles there, but ended up 14th. Glenn Corrigan started from the pit lane, finished up 15th. John Keefe, 16th. Kevin Colston, 17th. First car a lap down. Then Brendan Cohen had a few issues, 18th. And 19th goes to Marco Sanfilippo, who also had a few struggles. I'll just finish it out here. Charles Eric Lemelin in 20th, John Stevens 21st, Daniel Banker 22nd, and Martin Blaze at 23rd.
A lot of the drivers wanting to come to talk to us, including our race winner, and rightfully so, Nuno Moreira. You definitely seem to have the upper hand on Gernot Prix in that closing battle. Did you think if I can lead through this Della Rosa chicane on the final lap that you'd have a win?
Hey, hello everyone. Well, first of all, yeah, my congratulations to Gernot for the great race and the great battle. I need to check the broadcast because it was interesting to do all these laps so close, and it should be, I think, great to see. Regarding my confidence to the end, I have zero confidence. It's absolutely, one never knows what can happen, and I knew that Gernot had something for that first chicane. I don't remember the name of it right now, but he was very fast at the first corner. So, but yeah, it all went well. So my only concern was not to throw it away, and not to, of course, not to spoil Gernot's race. And that's always my objective: is to get to the end without any kind of fuss.
Of course, there was another big moment earlier on in the race when our race leader at the time, Juha Noralampi, made a mistake. Do you think you had the pace to challenge him and beat him in a run to the win if he hadn't had that error early on?
Nobody knows.
No way to say, hey? Well, how about this one then? Nürburgring next week. What are your thoughts heading there?
Well, Nürburgring is which Nürburgring is it?
It's a Grand Prix configuration.
Oh, the Grand Prix. The Grand Prix is great. The Grand Prix is a great track. It's very, very well thought, and all those turns are really, really, really interesting to do in the Lotus. So that is, I don't know, one of the best circuits. Once iRacing solved those issues with stuttering, and one could really appreciate that circuit, I think it's one of the greatest venues that we have. But not discounting this, like Monza is one of the parts where this car really excels, because it excels in different ways. So all great for the Lotus 79, I think.
All right, well, we look forward to seeing you back in action next week, Nuno. Congrats on the great win, and thanks for coming out and putting on the great race out there for us today.
Thank you very much, guys, and keep up the good job, the good work. Thank you. Bye-bye. Congratulations again to Gernot and Matt for the awesome race they did. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, so that was our race winner. Finishing right behind him, Richie, you caught up with Gernot.
Gernot, you got a copy. Gernot, you got a copy there?
I can hear you now.
Welcome back to the series here. Great battle with Nuno. Nuno had a fast car, and you had a moment there you had the lead. Did you ever think you could get it back right at the end?
Hi, Richie. Well, that's a tough question because I wasn't holding back at all, so I had to give it all to stay close to Nuno. And from my impression, he had a little bit better top speed. So I thought if there was a chance to overtake him, it had to be on the last lap, because then he would run out of long straights where he could get the position back. But yeah, it didn't really work out.
Yeah, he seemed to be really strong on the brakes going into that first chicane there. It also seemed like you're getting a little bit of aero wash coming through the Parabolica, which has really made it really tough to get that draft. You guys running pretty little downforce, I suppose.
Yeah, almost no downforce. I have to say thanks to Nuno because, just came back after 3 weeks. He shared a set earlier today with me, so that made it a lot easier for me to get up to grips. So I knew what he was driving in this race, and although I modified quite a bit, I really took profit from that setup.
I also was wondering, since you've missed the first 3 races and he's running in for that championship battle, that maybe you took it a little bit easy on him on that last pass, but I could see you really tried to stuff it in there, and it was really great racing to watch.
Yeah, I hope so. We always try to have a good battle, so it was a really good race and a clean race by everyone. So yeah, big congrats to Nuno for a well-deserved win, and to Matt as well, because Matt had a great week, great pace today.
Yeah, no, it was a good job for Matt as well, and it's too bad Noah Lampe made that mistake. Otherwise, we would have had a 3-way battle for the lead, I think. Will we be seeing you at the Nürburgring next week?
Yeah, I should be there. So hope to have another good race there.
Well, awesome. Congratulations on your second place finish and for putting on a good show with us. And we'll see you there.
Okay. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. See you next week.
All right, we have 2 more drivers lined up for interviews, so going to keep these a little bit short. But Barry West, we hadn't seen you for the opening 3 rounds. We knew that was going to happen. You told us in the forums. You came back, you didn't qualify too well, but hey, made it count in the race. Barry, we can't hear you right now. Barry West still having difficulty hearing him. We'll give you one more chance, Barry. Then we'll bring our 4th driver in here. We'll come back to you in a moment if we can't hear you. All right, so some technical difficulties there for Barry West. We'll try and get a word from him in a moment. How about John Keefe? John, you had a bit of not a great start to the race there. Had to avoid that carnage going through Curva Grande.
Yeah, that's one of the things when you don't drive this car for a really long time. In my case, I think it's been probably a year and a half. As soon as I went into Curva Grande, I saw some trouble up front, but that aside, I just pushed straight off. So I'm just glad it didn't end right there. But I just want to say this is just such a great car to drive, and track combination, really a lot of fun. I haven't driven this car in so long. I had probably too much fun for 15th place or 16th. 16th. But good time, a lot of fun.
Yeah, 16th place in the number 16 car. But before you downplay that too much, that's the top of 2 splits going on here. And I've always found the competition in the top split when these guys, you know, they do their strength of field races on the weekends, that's some really tough competition.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I know a couple of these guys from Camel, and from the Road America event we did a few weeks back. Nuno, for instance, coming in to this one that you have basically no chance. You just want to run a good, clean race. A guy like, in my position where I'm not a regular by any means, but really strong guys here. This series is known for that. So Yeah, I had a really good battle there with I think it was Glenn. Not remembering at the moment, but that was a good time. And I'm really glad my teammate from endurance racing, David Roth, he's a regular here now. He's been kind of nagging me to get back in this car. I'm glad I listened.
All right. Well, will we see you next week at the Nürburgring?
Yeah, actually, I plan on doing any track week that lines up with Camel, where it's the same track. I plan on running both for a little while here.
All right. Well, we look forward to seeing you. One more interview here, Richie. I'm just going to assume Barry West didn't want to speak to me. We'll try and get you hooked up with him.
Barry, you got a copy? And Barry, are you there? You got a copy on us?
All right. It's nothing personal he's got against me then. All right. Well, we're sure Barry can hear us, so we'll just say, Barry, once again, congrats on a clean race on your return here, and we look forward. Hey! All right.
Barry, you're there. So, Barry, welcome back to the series. Good run there. Didn't qualify probably as good as you thought you'd like, starting in 19th, finishing 12th, though. So, give us a little detail of your race. All right, Barry.
Okay.
Yep. Okay.
Well, it was good while it lasted. All right. Well, we pretty much explained Barry's race story there long enough. We're sure we'll see him back at Nürburgring next time. Hopefully we'll get back up there in the top 10. All right, well, we'll all see you next week from Nürburgring here on GSRC. We got some people we'd like to thank for making this happen, including the organisers and the competitors from the Lotus 79 Classic Team Championship for choosing GSRC. We would also like to thank all of the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcasts, and you can see those all listed on your screen. Additional thanks goes out to Eric Ekholm and June Lalonde to provide us with our great music. See the screen file to get hold of more of their work. Thanks to the team today, Richie, Amjad and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, you can visit us at globalsimracingchannel.com. We're also on social media. We're on Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at facebook.com/globalsimracingchannel, and Instagram at GSRC_gram. All of the upcoming races for our other series are listed on screen, so check those out, mark them down on your calendar, and don't miss another second of exciting racing action. But until next time, race clean, race hard, we'll see you on the track, and Sean, stop making me laugh.